Heavy snow blankets Utah, causing chaos and crashes on the roads.
Tracking a winter storm moving through northern Utah tonight, where we have winter storm warnings and what you can expect for your morning drive.
Panic at a Utah elementary school.
The first thing you want to do is get to your kids.
What forced the school into active shooter protocol and the impact on students inside.
My teacher, she locked the door and then we all hid in the corner.
And what was behind the false alarm.
Utah police have trained for years in how to respond for an active shooter at a school. We'll tell you a little bit about those preparations.
And the holiday season officially begins tonight in Draper. Tonight, why this year's tree lighting ceremony was particularly special for the families who made it there.
Live from Utah's news leader, Fox 13 News at 9 starts right now.
Snow is coming down in parts of Utah tonight with the possibility of a lot more on the way. Fox 13 viewers sent in plenty of videos and pictures of all the snowfall so far. Take a live look now at the roads from one of UDOT's cameras. This is at I-15 southbound direction, all clogged up right at the point of the mountain. You can see that gridlock there on the freeway. It's been like this actually for hours, all because of the snowstorm. We do have team coverage for you tonight. We start with Utah's Weather Authority, Allison Krogan. And Allison, I tell you, it has been a busy, messy night.
That's right. So we have winter storm warnings for Salt Lake County right now. Happy to report that on the East Bench right now, the East Side Belt, I-215, we've got traffic moving in both directions, but things are going to get going again later tonight as some lake effect snow starts to settle in, and we'll see that as a possibility through late tomorrow morning. 28 degrees in Salt Lake right now, 28 in Ogden, 31 for Provo. As we look at satellite and radar, I know it doesn't look too exciting, but with the amount of people we had commuting tonight and our heaviest precipitation that was falling earlier today, really set up for a tough evening drive and potentially again a tough drive for tomorrow morning. The roads will remain slick as we're going to have freezing temperatures tonight. We have winter storm warnings for Salt Lake County and for the mountains south of I-80. Lake effect snow tonight into late tomorrow morning, and then another storm arrives on Friday. So slick roads tonight here in Salt Lake as we stay below freezing throughout the evening. And then for the Wasatch Front commute tomorrow morning, we're going to see some slick spots. And if it's not snowing directly on you, we're going to have some icy areas, especially on bridges and overpasses. For tomorrow evening, temperatures in the mid-20s. We are hardly warming up tomorrow, high of only 31 here in Salt Lake. We'll talk more about the lake effect snow. I'll show you where that's most likely into tomorrow morning, coming up in your forecast.
See you soon, Allison. It has been very dangerous out on the roads. In fact, take a look. A lot of crashes out there, of course, due to the snowstorm. As of 7 o'clock tonight, Utah Highway Patrol says they've responded to at least 114 crashes since the storm moved in today. And that does not account for the crashes on surface streets that Utah Highway Patrol does not respond to, like this one in Draper. Stacy Beck sent us these photos on the Utah's Weather Authority Facebook page of a crash involving 4 vehicles right at 13th East and 120th South. Other drivers in the area, they did the right thing. They slowed down and gave those involved in the wreck space, but they slowed down so much so many of them stalled or then got stuck themselves on the hill. The Salt Lake City Police Department does have some advice to help people keep safe and avoid a crash in the bad weather. While traveling in the snow or rain, it is important to be extra cautious. Icy or wet road conditions can make very dangerous travel, I should say. The main piece of advice given by the police department is probably one you've heard plenty of times before: slow down.
If you're driving, please increase your traveling distance between the person in front of you, because with those weather conditions, it will increase your stopping distance. So just slow down altogether.
If you have any concerns or questions, you can reach out to Salt Lake City Police Dispatch. In an emergency, call 911. Now is a really great time to download the Fox 13 Utah Weather app. It's free. Just scan that QR code on your screen to download it or find it in the App Store or Google Play. It lets you bring Utah's Weather Authority with you wherever you go with 24/7 weather information specific to your location.
It was pretty scary to get that text and have to race down here.
Now to our other top story. A false alarm about a school shooting prompted a massive response to Granger Elementary School in West Valley City this morning. The Granite School District says a teacher at the school heard what sounded like gunfire and called 911. The school was locked down. Police went room by room to look for a potential shooter. Turns out it was a science experiment going on in the next classroom where loud noises were going off by volcanoes that were being developed by students.
And unfortunately, it just appears there was a lack of communication or misunderstanding. Either way, we're very glad for the outcome.
The Granite School District says no one is in trouble for the miscommunication because they're just glad everyone had the best interest of safety in mind. Parents are praising the school district and police for their swift action and preparedness. Still, the situation made for a very emotional afternoon. Fox 13 News reporter Emily Tenser spoke to students who say their teachers were trying to protect them.
The sound of that volcano project sounded so much like gunshots that kids still couldn't believe it was fake, even after they were let out and back with their parents.
Principal says we're going to have a lockdown, so we all hide and wait for the police to come. People were crying in my class.
The sounds of a science project sent Granger Elementary School spiraling into active shooter situation protocols.
The first thing you want to do is get to your kids.
I'm sure Isaiah is probably really shaken up.
Students say the noise sounded like gunfire, then they heard screams.
The teacher locked the door. We all huddled up into a corner, hoping that we don't, that the school shooter doesn't get us.
Third graders like Hala Adams says she was scared, but her teacher made them feel okay.
After we all hid in the corner, we were all quiet, and then my teacher got a book and read us a story. She did so good. She was trying to protect us.
For parents, the waiting left them playing out every worst possible scenario in their heads.
I think something like this, you can't forget about it just because of everything that is happening this last couple of months and just not here in other states.
They say there's no bigger relief hearing none of it was true and seeing their kids waving from the windows.
Oh man, the happiest thing I felt enough.
Oh man, I'm gonna kiss him and hug him. Yeah, that's what I need to do right now.
Some students were picked up early by their parents, while others stayed at the school, supervised, ate lunch in the cafeteria until they were let out at normal hours. We even saw some kids playing outside, throwing snowballs at each other, unfazed by the events of today. Reporting outside Granger Elementary, Emily Tenser, Fox 13 News, Utah.
Police in Utah have responded to a few mass shootings over the years, and they've spent decades training just in case the unthinkable happens. Going in depth tonight, Fox 13 News investigative reporter Nate Carlisle continues our team coverage to explain how local and national events have influenced law enforcement response.
It wasn't that long ago we didn't even have the term active shooter. Now police drill for such an event often.
Shots fired, second floor on the west side of the school.
This is video Fox 13 News showed you in August from Cypress High School in the same district as Granger Elementary.
He just started working his way down the hallway.
Police were drilling for just the call they received today, a gunman.
Last seen near the main office.
They train alongside firefighters. Here's video of a 2021 drill where they practice removing shooting victims from the scene and transporting them to a hospital.
Code or active shooter, radiology. This is the drill.
Sergeant Melody Cutler, a trainer at Unified Police, describes some of the evolution in how police officers respond.
When I started law enforcement in the 90s, there really wasn't a training. So this was pre-Columbine. I became an instructor about 10 years ago in training response to active shooters, and multiple things have changed. The unfortunate side of this is because we've had so many of them, we've been able to alter our training and become a little bit better in the way we respond.
Locally, Cutler agrees the 1999 shooting at the Triad Center, as well as the 2007 Trolley Square shootings and the training Utah police received in the run-up to the 2002 Winter Olympics have all contributed to the way police here respond to shooters. As for today's erroneous report at Granger Elementary, Cutler expects every police force who responded will debrief to determine what went well and what did not. In the studio, Nate Carlisle, Fox 13 News, Utah.
We don't take this action lightly.
With RSV on the rise, drastic times call for drastic measures. Why Intermountain Healthcare is putting off some procedures at Primary Children's Hospital.
President Biden is now weighing in on the ongoing rail labor negotiations. I'm Lauren Blanchard in Washington, what he wants Congress to do to avoid a strike coming up.
And with the snowfall, it's starting to feel even more like the holiday season. We'll take you to the big tree lighting ceremony in Draper.
The Utes are back in the Pac-12 championship. They'll take on USC this Friday. We'll hear from Coach Whittingham as they get ready to defend their title.
Hi, welcome back. We wanted to check in at Point of the Mountain. This is I-15 right now at 150 to the south. This is in the Bluffdale area, headed from Draper down towards Lehigh, Thanksgiving Point area. Happy to report traffic is finally moving quite a bit faster in this area, but roads are still going to be slick overnight. Plus, we have some more snow in the forecast with lake effect settling in tonight and into tomorrow morning. We'll talk about that coming up in your full forecast in a few minutes.
See you then. Thanks, Allison. New tonight, charges have been filed in last week's double homicide that took place in Clearfield. It was on the day before Thanksgiving. The bodies of Thomas and Janice Walker were found in their garage. According to court documents, their grandson, 26-year-old Jeremy Belt, admitted to police that he attacked both of them with a hammer and shot them both in the head. Belt is now charged with 2 counts of aggravated murder, which is a capital offense. It is not known yet if prosecutors will seek the death penalty in this case. RSV continues to be on the rise here in Utah, and it's dealing a big blow to Primary Children's Hospital. Today, they announced that some pre-scheduled surgeries and inpatient procedures will now be delayed due to a surge in RSV cases among Utah children. About 50 procedures that were going to happen this week have now been postponed. That accounts for about 10% of all surgeries and procedures there at the hospital. Doctors with Primary Children say this action is not one they take lightly.
We have many measures that we put in place to deal with a surge, and we deal with surges every year. This has been really an unprecedented surge in RSV, accompanied now by a fairly large amount of influenza. Just over the last week, it's increased quite substantially. And behind all this, COVID is increasing slowly.
Well, the goal of today's move is to free up beds for incoming sick patients. Dr. Pavia there stressed that they will not delay any surgery that is going to endanger a child. Tonight's stormy weather has pushed back Saratoga Springs' Christmas light ceremony to another day and sent the vendors and performers into City Hall in Cottonwood Heights. But Draper was seemingly unfazed by tonight's snow. Fox 13 News reporter Lucy Nelson was there, joins us live tonight. Lucy, oh my gosh, the tree behind you, it looks gorgeous. How was the turnout despite the icy road conditions?
Well, I'm here at Draper City Park, which just a little while ago was packed with families who tell me they weren't going to let the snowstorm stop them from seeing the beautiful lights on the Christmas tree here. And I spoke with one woman who tells me it was the best turnout she's seen in her 6 years of coming to the event. Hi! 3 million lights.
You like that one too? Yeah.
The purple one? Is it so pretty? Bringing season's joy not only to Draper,
I did that on purpose.
but to hundreds of families.
It's like the highlight. It's like one of his favorite places to come every year, so it's like always one we do.
It's just making memories.
The Wolhoff family laughing about how the weather didn't stop them.
We'll probably be talking about this, sometime in the future about, you remember that time when we were really crazy and we went out when it was snowing and the traffic was bad, but we went and saw the lights in Draper? Boy, that was fun.
Rob says it's important to show up and see neighbors in the holiday spirit when given the opportunity.
This is no small effort to put on something like this. So it's really neat that the Draper community invests in this type of thing, and not just for their community, but for all the communities surrounding it. So it's really admirable.
The lights are on from 5 to 10 each night and 5 to 8 every morning until the first Sunday in January. And as for the weather conditions, visibility has cleared. Still some light flurries here, but roads are still very slick and icy. So make sure to slow down and be careful as you head out the door. Live in Draper, Lucy Nelson, Fox 13 News, Utah.
Lucy, thanks so much. That tree gorgeous there in Draper. I think they call it the tree of life, Allison. You know, I think the snow only highlights, accentuates all of those twinkling lights.
That's right, but it has been really tough on the roads tonight for many of you. And we could see some very tough driving again later tonight and into tomorrow morning. So we're in a little bit of a lull right now as expected, but tonight we've got the chance for some lake effect bands to set up. We could see more reduced visibility and heavy snowfall. So travel with caution later tonight and into tomorrow morning. So what is lake effect snow? How does it form? How do we know where it's going to be? We've got the cold wind moving over the warm lake water. The heat and moisture has some rising air. It condenses, moves away from the lake, and then we see some very high snow totals possible. So for tonight, of course, as always with lake effect snow, wind direction is the key component. And into the overnight hours, our forecast is bringing some of that heavier snow, most likely just south of Layton, all the way down through West Valley, through much of Salt Lake County, particularly the East Bench, and over towards the Cottonwood Canyons. And this is going to be possible through 11 a.m. tomorrow. We could see some very heavy snowfall during the morning commute, and it was just a perfect storm tonight for the evening drive. And then tonight we're going to have the frigid temperatures, so we'll still have some icy spots tomorrow. Now, this is why we have winter storm warnings that have been issued for Salt Lake County, highlighted in pink right here. Heavy snow is expected, and if you must travel in this area where we have winter storm warnings for either Salt Lake County or for the Wasatch Mountains south of I-80, you'll want to make sure you've got a flashlight, food, and water, and just your emergency kit in case you get stranded. We've seen more than 100 crashes so far tonight, and we'll have more into the overnight hours and again tomorrow once we get some areas of lake effect setting up. Right now, a little bit of a break. We still have areas of snow, mainly light to moderate snow coming down, but we're going to have some very cold temperatures tonight and into tomorrow morning. So by 8 a.m., low 20s here in Salt Lake. Bridges and overpasses are always really tough places. The morning after, we see heavy snowfall, and again tomorrow we're going to have some slick spots with new fresh snow that'll come down in the form of lake effect. So tonight and into tomorrow morning, teens and mid-20s here across the state. Tomorrow throughout the day, we are hardly going to warm up. We're going to have our temperatures below freezing at 4 o'clock tomorrow. So Ogden 30 degrees, Salt Lake 32, Eagle Mountain 28. Twilla tomorrow 32 degrees, Provo 29. So tomorrow morning we've got the chance for some lake effect. I would make sure that when you are waking up tomorrow morning, you're checking with us in the morning on Good Day Utah. We'll let you know of any traffic problems, and then of course just always being prepared in case you're going to have those slowdowns. If you can work from home tomorrow morning, that'd be a good time to do it, because as the snow starts to come back down, our forecast models are showing that best chance into the early part of tomorrow morning. So different forecast models showing us here in Salt Lake additional snowfall, 2 to 4, maybe 5 inches of snow for a few areas if we see some lake effect settling in. By 8 o'clock tomorrow morning, we're going to see a few areas of lake effect still coming down, but the storm mostly is moving off to our east. And then by tomorrow in St. George, you're going to have a high of about 50 with sunshine, upper 50s on Wednesday, chance for some rain on Friday and again on Sunday. Overall, St. George, your forecast about 50 to 60 degrees with some sunshine, some clouds, some chances for rain. A pretty good forecast for the St. George area. For us here in Salt Lake, we have a very cold forecast for tomorrow, chances for some snow. Wednesday, Thursday, a little bit of a break between storms. Friday, another system moves in, some more chances for snow to start the weekend and also to end the weekend. We'll talk more about that and potential snow totals coming up later in the hour.
Yeah, tomorrow morning sounds messy. Allison, thanks for the heads up. Straight ahead, the world's largest active volcano is erupting for the first time in nearly 4 decades. What experts are saying about Mauna Loa as it continues to erupt in Hawaii. And we will get you up to speed on where things stand now when it comes to the investigation into the murders of 4 University of Idaho students earlier this month. Stay with us. Welcome back, everyone. Voter turnout for the recent midterm elections has been tabulated. Lieutenant Governor Deidre Henderson says statewide turnout was about 64%. Counties along the Wasatch Front saw some of the lowest voter turnout in the low 60s. Wayne County had 84% voter turnout. Garfield, Grand, and King counties had 78%. Tooele County had the lowest voter turnout in the state. A judge in Washington, D.C. today sentenced a Utah man to 30 days in jail for entering the U.S. Capitol during the riot there. Landon Manwaring of Vernal also must serve 35 months of probation and pay $500 in restitution. Manwaring and his mother, Susan Manwaring, both pleaded guilty to misdemeanors for walking into the Capitol on January 6, 2021. They were not accused of violence or vandalism that day. Now, Landon Manwaring told the judge today, quote, "I can definitely see how my actions that day, January 6th, contributed to the rest of the chaotic events of that day, and I feel really bad about that. I can see that I need to be accountable for those actions." In an unrelated case, a state court judge has already sentenced Manwaring to serve 30 days for pleading guilty to a felony count of dealing in materials harmful to a minor. Manwaring's mother will be sentenced in her federal case in January.
4 students murdered in Idaho, a killer still on the loose. And why students returning from Thanksgiving break feel so uneasy tonight.
Tracking a strong winter storm moving in northern Utah, where we're going to see our heaviest snow totals and also what you can expect for the morning drive.
Utah Jazz at home tonight against the Chicago Bulls. Can they end their 4-game losing streak? I'll have the highlights coming up.
Stay warm and stay safe tonight. We are in the middle of a winter storm right now with warnings and advisories in place for much of Utah. Right now, you can see a live look at the snow in Park City here. This is Deer Valley Drive. It has been a tough commute for so many tonight on the main thoroughfares as well as the side streets in the higher and lower elevations. So if you can, stay off the roads. We'll check back in with Utah's Weather Authority, Allison Krogan, coming up in just a little bit. In national news, students at the University of Idaho returned to campus today following the Thanksgiving holiday break, yet no arrests have been made in the murder of 4 students earlier this month. Some students there say while they did return to campus, they feel unsafe. Jen Sullivan has the latest details in this case and more on the unease students are feeling.
The streets at the University of Idaho much quieter Monday as some students returned from Thanksgiving break. Others choosing to stay home. With a killer still on the loose, many feel uneasy about coming back.
It's kind of sad, upsetting. It's kind of quiet.
On November 13th, the bodies of 4 students were found in a home off campus. Madison Mogan, Zayna Kernodle, Kaylee Goncalves, and Ethan Chapin were stabbed multiple times. Authorities say police have yet to name a person of interest or make any arrests in the case. Students say on-campus police have beefed up security, but some say they're still nervous about walking alone.
I never really go anywhere by myself.
Police believe the 4 students were targeted, but have yet to release any evidence to back that up. Meanwhile, faculty are preparing in-person and virtual learning options for students who don't feel safe enough to return to campus.
One of my roommates is staying home, but I don't blame her. She doesn't feel safe.
Video shows Goncalves and Mogan at a food truck in Moscow hours before they were killed. Chapin and Kernodle were seen at a fraternity party. Police say all of them returned home by 2 a.m. Police have ruled out the other 2 roommates as suspects, but many questions remain unanswered. The university plans to hold a vigil for the victims on Wednesday. Jen Sullivan, Fox 13 News, Utah.
Today, the man who killed 10 people at a Buffalo supermarket back in May pleaded guilty to state charges of murder and domestic terrorism. The terror charges stems from the fact that the shooter, 19-year-old Peyton Gendron, who is white, deliberately targeted black victims. Those charges come with a mandatory life sentence without the possibility of parole.
It is important for this community to hear how these precious lives were snatched from us for no other reason than the color of their skin.
The suspect could still face the death penalty in a federal case. In a statement, his lawyer said he hopes the guilty plea will put the focus back on the needs of the shooting victims. Well, today, 6 months after a devastating shooting at an elementary school in Uvalde, Texas, the mother of a 10-year-old victim sued Uvalde police, the school district, and the maker of the gun used in the crime. The lawsuit accuses local police of gross negligence and says the gun maker violated FTC rules by marketing weapons to, quote, vulnerable and violent young men. The defendants have not commented. Well, the world's largest active volcano is erupting for the first time in nearly 4 decades. Hawaii's Mauna Loa started to erupt yesterday. So far, lava flows are contained to the summit area of the volcano. Officials, though, are worried it could move toward residential areas and warn that this eruption could last for a few weeks. The new data shows people over 65 account for almost 90% of all COVID deaths, compared to about 60% at this time last summer. Federal leaders are taking notice. Last week, the White House said it would launch a booster campaign for seniors and other groups disproportionately affected by the virus. Well, President Biden now says Congress should get involved to avert a rail strike next week. The last-minute decision to get involved only highlights how devastating a strike would be on the U.S. economy, to the tune of $2 billion a day. Fox's Lauren Blanchard reports from Washington.
President Biden is tasking Congress with ending the threat of a rail worker strike next week. It comes after the president said his labor, agriculture, and transportation secretaries said they see no way forward in negotiations between labor leaders and rail management.
It seems like President Biden was hoping to get something done that ultimately he could not get done, and the labor unions are not going to be happy about this.
In a statement Monday night, the president writing, "In this case, where the economic impact of a shutdown would hurt millions of other working people and families, I believe Congress must use its powers to adopt this deal." If a strike happens, the economic impact is expected to be $2 billion a day.
This is just going to make inflation worse, and it couldn't come at a worse time for consumers who are and families who are going to try to get those gifts under the Christmas tree.
Back in September, President Biden and his team celebrated a tentative deal. It has a 24% pay raise, bonuses, and improved health care benefits. But in early November, 4 of the unions expressed concern with the lack of paid sick leave. Speaker Nancy Pelosi said she was reluctant to bypass the unions, but that the House would take up the legislation with the original tentative agreement. Quote, "We must act to prevent a catastrophic nationwide rail strike, which would grind our economy to a halt." The deadline for a deal or congressional action to avoid a strike is December 9th. In Washington, Lauren Blanchard, Fox 13 News, Utah.
Coming up, an incredible story of survival. A pilot walking for miles to get cell reception after his plane crashed. Why officials say this is miraculous. Plus, one Utah teacher is being recognized for the work he's putting into his students. Why his classroom is unlike anything you've ever seen. This is incredible. We are hearing of a pilot's story of survival after a plane crash in Morgan County over the weekend. The Mountain Green Fire Protection District says the pilot miraculously survived the crash near Durst Mountain and walked 6 miles in order to call 911 yesterday afternoon. Firefighters and deputies from Morgan County Sheriff's Office says it was difficult to get to the crash site. They ended up using ATVs. No injuries were reported. So far, they have not released details on the cause of the crash or where the pilot was headed. An auto shop teacher with Bonneville High School in the Weber School District, along with his students, have received some major honors. They just returned from Las Vegas, where they were recognized as having the top shop in the entire nation. Fox 13 News anchor John Franke has more.
This auto shop is Adam Arndt's classroom.
The actual trades, we teach it.
classroom that simulates real-world experiences.
We have actually probably 42 active projects in our shop right now, and I have the students actually manage them. They tell me what we need to do on the next project and how to work it through.
From oil changes to transmission work, even brakes, when Mr. Arndt's advanced students graduate,
to be able to get past the entry-level section in a dealership,
they're ready to put their skills to use.
I've got a bunch of like certifications and stuff just from the classes that he offers. Like I know how to do tires and stuff. I know how to take obviously engines apart now, just loads of stuff.
But these lessons aren't just about auto skills.
Things that we learn here is just confidence, basic business management stuff.
That attitude helps build a connection with students, just as senior Nolan Brower.
Instead of making it only learning and just tough, like you have to learn this, it's what you're interested in, he'll take you farther and make you experience that field.
Students also work with the community on building hot rod racers.
It has a land speed record, 44 miles an hour.
And refurbishing bikes for kids in need. It's all part of the curriculum, giving these teens important trade skills.
We have an engine that they can tear down, put back together within 26 minutes.
Is that pretty quick?
That is very quick.
But maybe more importantly, making them ready for life after high school.
The students are still excited about what they are doing. The kids haven't given up.
Mr. Arndt adds what made him most proud about their trip to Las Vegas is that his students were able to network with auto CEOs and executives. He says that experience will help them someday when they have their own shops and small businesses. In Salt Lake City, John Franke, Fox 13 News, Utah.
Well, coming up, winter storm warnings for Salt Lake County and the Wasatch Mountains south of I-80, plus winter weather advisories for much of Utah highlighted in purple. What you can expect for tonight, where we could see some lake effect settling in, and for your morning drive.
Well, the Utes are back in the Pac-12 championship game. Kyle Whittingham will tell us what he thinks about USC receiving most of the attention. And Jazz back on the court tonight. Could they break their 4-game losing streak with a win over the Bulls? The highlights are on the way.
Welcome back. We're taking a live look right now at SR 224 Olympic Parkway. This is right in the Kimball Junction area, right off of I-80. We are seeing some snow-covered roads and a little bit of a lull right now between our areas of snowfall and the timing of it. We're going to see some more lake effect snow settling in tonight, and that will likely disrupt the morning commute for many of you. So we'll talk more about that, the timing of that, and how much snow you can expect coming up in the full forecast.
All right, looking forward to that forecast, Allison. Thanks. Hey, if you're a veteran who may need a little extra help this Christmas season, put this on your schedule. It's happening tomorrow. The Salt Lake Veteran Affairs Center and the American Legion Auxiliary of Utah, they're hosting a free Christmas gift shop. Veterans can choose gifts for themselves, also a spouse, and up to 6 recipients in their immediate family under the age of 18 years old. And this is all completely free.
This is not only a godsend, it's really a special thing because a lot of people don't have the whereabouts or the funds, the means to go gift shop for the families. But it's a blessing.
Such a great thing this is. Any veteran enrolled in VA healthcare can visit the center to pick out their gifts. The gift shop will close tomorrow at 3 p.m. 40 students at Wasatch Elementary School hung handmade ornaments on the Zions Bank Christmas tree this morning. They also sang Christmas songs. This is the 50th year of Zions Bank's Lights on Tree trimming tradition. 54 elementary schools are creating ornaments, and in return, Zions Bank is making a donation to each school.
We partner with Wasatch Elementary every year, and they help us by coming and singing a couple songs and decorating our tree and bringing in the festivities of the season.
I just love those handmade ornaments. This is the first event of the season for Zions Bank. Throughout the season, though, more than 3,000 students will participate. Look at how sweet this is. Babies at Jordan Valley Medical Center got a visit from Santa Claus today. A Santa helper, actually. The CEO dressed up as Santa, and the chief nursing officer dressed up as Santa's chief elf. Jordan Valley Medical Center NICU cares for more than 250 babies each year. This year, they wanted to give new parents a chance to see their babies with Santa.
Many of them are missing opportunities. Their babies might be here through Christmas, through the holidays. So we thought as a team it would be a great idea to be able to provide a chance to have Santa come and visit on the unit.
The hospital says it prides itself on giving state-of-the-art specialized care while providing a comfortable atmosphere for families. Well, it kind of feels more like the holidays with this blast of snow we're seeing, Allison. However, I know it's been a headache, big trouble out on the roads for many drivers tonight.
That's right, and into tomorrow morning, we're going to have some more snow on the way. Right now, mostly a break, but the roads are still really slick outside. If you're walking into a parking lot, things are definitely icy. Your car is likely ice and snow covered as well. And as we take a live look at the Old Mill camera, we've got traffic moving along just fine on I-215. Just make sure you are taking it slow tonight. We do have winter storm warnings for Salt Lake County and for the Wasatch Mountains south of I-80. If you have to be on the roads tonight, I would recommend you bring a flashlight, food, water, have your emergency kit ready just in case you get stranded or need some help. So we're going to have some areas of snowfall overnight at times, but likely we'll see some lake effect setting in tonight, and that would be most likely to bring our heaviest snowfall mainly to Salt Lake County, particularly the East Bench. We're going to see some areas of ice for the morning drive tomorrow, plus some areas of snow-packed roads for the morning drive tomorrow. Now into 6 a.m. we'll still have some snow going across northern Utah. Temperatures teens and 20s, so we're going to have a frigid start tomorrow. And then a high tomorrow of only 31 in Salt Lake, in the teens for Park City, Moab 39, St. George about 50 tomorrow. As we break down our precipitation chances here in Salt Lake, here's what we're seeing on the forecast trends. For Salt Lake City, we're this red line. Times are at the bottom of your screen. So right now we're isolated to widely scattered. We are going to see that going up tonight, especially between noon and 11 a.m. tomorrow. That's our best chance to see some lake effect bands setting up. For the Ogden area, you're also going to peak likely after midnight tonight and then have some widely scattered isolated chances throughout the morning tomorrow. So additional snow mainly for the mountains across central and northern Utah. This is on top of what we've already seen. So this is a high resolution forecast model, and what we're seeing with this is on track with what we're expecting for the lake effect snow, with the heaviest snowfall from about the airport down towards Sandy, the Cottonwood Canyons. Parley's Canyon could become very tough tomorrow. And what we're seeing with this, the darkest blue that you're seeing, so for the East Bench and also maybe even towards Holiday and the Cottonwood Canyons, Parley's Canyon, that is an additional 6 to 12 inches of snow. So we're going to see more snow likely. Now, for many of you in the valleys, you're in this medium blue, and that is 3 to 6 more inches of snow. So we're going to have some areas that are very tough for driving tomorrow morning. Overall, what we're talking about for northern valleys, 1 to 6 inches of snow. For the northern mountains, 10 to 18 inches. For the southern valleys, 0 to 1. Southern mountains, 0 to 3. St. George about 50 tomorrow, close to 60 Wednesday, Thursday. Another quick storm moves in Friday, and then again on Sunday. Our active weather is going to continue. Salt Lake 31 tomorrow, 42 on Wednesday, 48 on Thursday. Low 40s this weekend with some more chances for rain and snow as active weather returns.
The Utah Jazz trying to end a 4-game losing streak tonight as they opened up a 6-game homestand against the Chicago Bulls. The good news is the Jazz did have Lauri Markkanen back. He was a game-time decision with a knee contusion, but out there playing well. Nice post move there, scores it down low. Here's Jordan Clarkson with it. Drives and dishes to Jared Vanderbilt, rocks the rim. He had 9 points and 7 rebounds. The Bulls could also play above the rim. Andre Drummond with the alley-oop jam. Then it's Javonte Green goes up and throws it down. Jazz still in control though in the first half. Colin Sexton running downhill in this play. The little bull rises up and dunks it home. He had 17.6 assists. He also had it here again, gives it off the Markkanen, the hammer. That put the Jazz up by 10 in the second quarter. He led the Jazz with 32 points, 9 rebounds. But the Jazz turned it over 10 times in the second half, and the Bulls turned those into points. Colby White with the big finish. Bulls led it by 12 in the fourth quarter. Jazz tried to rally back. Malik Beasley takes it in for 2 of his 11 points. Jazz did cut the lead to 3, but the Bulls held on to win it 114-107. Jazz are 12 and 11 after losing 5 in a row. A lot of things had to go Utah's way over the weekend, and they did. The Utes back in the Pac-12 championship game for the 4th time in the last 5 seasons. The 12th-ranked Utes will go after their 2nd straight Pac-12 title this Friday against the 4th-ranked USC Trojans. A lot is on the line for USC. Quarterback Caleb Williams will be looking for his Heisman moment against the Utes, and the Trojans should get into the college football playoffs with a win on Friday, so that's a big storyline. But the Utes beat USC earlier this season with a late touchdown and a 2-point conversion in the final minute to give Utah a 43-42 victory. The Trojans may be getting all the national attention, but that's just fine with the Utes.
Pretty much everyone's got them winning already and going to the playoffs, and Caleb winning the Heisman, and that's already kind of been talked about. So we love that role. We love the chip on our shoulder, the nobody giving us a chance. We seem to thrive in that capacity and in that world. And so we'll see. Some people say, well, you backdoored your way to the championship. No, we won the games we needed to win to get there. I don't know what backdoor means. I mean, we won 7 games and the right 7 games to get into the championship.
We will have it covered with our countdown to kickoff at 4:30 on Friday. We'll be live in Las Vegas to preview the game. Kickoff set for 6 o'clock, all right here on Fox 13. I love when Coach Whittingham talks about having a chip on his shoulder. It's real. He likes to be an underdog and have his team think nobody believes in him, and he gets the most out of those guys.
And they're going to come out hard. Hey, let me just say publicly, too, Jeff, that I will never doubt you again when it comes to the... I sat here on Friday,
yes.
When was it?
Last
Friday.
week. Yeah.
Thursday.
Either one.
Anyway, saying all those things have to happen for Utah to make it to the championship. I don't know. And Jeff's like, they got it. It's going to happen.
It could happen. And it did. It was a lot of luck, but it happened. So there you go.
I should go to Vegas with you.
There you go.
You're good at... guessing, betting. We'll be right back. Tonight's going to be dangerous.
Yes, we'll have some areas of lake effect later tonight, mainly after midnight and through about 11 a.m. tomorrow. So
tomorrow morning drive could be bad. So prepare for it. We'll have you covered tomorrow on Good Day Utah starting at 4:30 a.m. Quick Cast is next.